Welcome to the True Leaders podcast, where we dive deep into the stories, strategies, and mindsets of individuals who are not just at the top, but who are truly shaping our world for the better. Join us as we uncover what it takes to lead with purpose, integrity, and real impact.
And I don't tell this story very often, but it seems to be appropriate to this podcast. I had a very bad reputation, and people were picking on me. They were being mean and nasty and undermining me and belittling me. And I was trying to do everything I could to impress them, to become an impressive person, so they would give me respect and they would see that I could do my job really, really well. But it seemed that everything I did just further undermined me. They could see that I was sucking up and trying to be nice, and they just maligned me even more. They were really, really nasty to me, to the point that and I remember this distinctly happening in my mind. I can't remember exactly what time it was, but I can remember this switch in my mind, and I've gone, do you know something? I know that I am a good person. I know that I am a good operator. I know that I have the skills to do everything I need. Yes, I still need extra training. Yes, there are skills I need to learn, and we can always develop. But I knew I was good enough to do the job. And I had this switch in my head where I've gone, I don't care what you think of me. I am going to go and do my job and not listen to what you say. I don't care. And it was that time, that moment when I switched, that they started looking at me differently. They suddenly realized that no matter what they did, it was not going to negatively affect me. And I had people coming to me afterwards and saying, Derek, I don't know what happened, but suddenly you changed as a person and you just became really determined, focused, and this could be where I got grit and growth out of that moment. But you became really focused, and I just grew respect for you around that period. But when we start believing in our own abilities, we all have the ability to do what we want to do. Yes, we have development always, but generally speaking, we have the abilities, the skills, the insight, the intelligence to do what we want to do. We just need to trust ourselves. And that was the change that I made at that time. I've gone, I don't care what you think. I trust myself, and I'm going to do the best job I could. And out of that, I became a bigger person in their eyes, but I grew into the person I could be.
Those two are two inspirational stories that you brought out today. Like you have said, the last story you don't really bring it up most of the time, but you feel the need for our audience to hear from it. It's a very strong story. It's a story that is teaching us to believe in ourselves when we know ourselves. I want to take you back. You have been shot 14 times, and you still came back after 2 years. Remarkably came back, returned to duties. And this is finding yourself and understanding who you are. Mr. Derek, tell me, how do emotional intelligence leaders turn setback into platform for growth for themselves and their team?
So in my work in sustained optimal performance, I talk about 5 drivers for success. And I think this applies to everybody so that we can keep on growing. The first one is we need to always have a sense of optimism. We've got to be able to see something better in the future, a better place than where we are now, and you want to have it. That doesn't just give you hope, it gives you optimism. Hope is passive. Optimism is something that you see, that you want, and you believe you can do something about. So the second driver is influence, believing that we have the ability to take action or manage our thought process to be able to influence the outcome in a way that benefits us and benefits our team and those people around us always positively. The third one is we need to have meaning in what we're doing. I've mentioned it before that when we've got meaning, when we've got purpose, when this is something that we are really passionate about, then we will push ourselves harder. If there's no meaning, or if it's just something the boss tells us we have to do, as soon as it becomes hard, we go, oh, too hard. You tell me how I'm going to fix it. When we have meaning for us, we will want to make that happen, and we will push through massive, massive challenges to be able to do it. The fourth one is planning. Now, planning, in my mind, is simply some idea of what we're going to deal with, some idea of how it's going to affect us, and some idea of the resources we have to be able to manage it. And that's as much as planning needs to be. The bigger the challenge, the bigger the planning, the more planning we need to do. But at the very, very bottom is just some idea of what we're going to deal with, some idea of how it's going to make us feel, and some idea of how we are the resources we have to be able to manage it. And the fifth one is have support. Be willing to throw your hand in the air and say, do you know something? I need some help with this. Many, many leaders do not allow themselves to put their hand in the air and say, I need a hand, because it appears to be weak. A leader needs to have everything together. No, the best leader is the one who goes, do you know something? I don't have it all together. I don't understand this. Can you help me? Can I throw this to my team? Can you give me some feedback? Because the beautiful thing that happens is when the leader is able to put his hand up and go, do you know something? I don't know everything. That allows your team to then say, hey, boss, you've given me a task and I'm not sure all about it. Can you give me some more insight? Can I ask you some questions about it? Or they'll say, do you know something? I stuffed up. But we need to be able to show that example. So that fifth one, being able to throw your hand in the air and say, I need support for this, opens up the floodgates for everybody else to go, I need some help as well. And once we start interacting like that with our team performance rises immediately.
That's very educational. I don't even want to dilute it with any comment. Let's go to the next question. In your experience, what's the role of vulnerability in personal and professional growth?
This goes back to throwing your hand in the air and saying, I need support as well. That is vulnerability. Saying that I'm not sure, saying I don't know. In my workshops, I've got a slide and I can picture what it says, but I can't remember exactly what it says. Oh gosh, what is it? It is something about I can't remember the exact wording, so excuse me for this awkward wording, but we need to be able to grow, continuously grow. And the more that we are able to recognize that we don't know everything and that everything is a growth process, then we will grow a lot faster. As soon as we start saying, I know all that, I don't need to learn anymore, that's when we cut off our learning, right? And nothing else happens. When we say, do you know something, I'm not sure about that, can you help me? And throwing your hand in the air and saying, I need support. When we show that vulnerability, that's when our learning starts expounding. But it also shows our teams and our families, and families are very important to me. Our teams and our families, that vulnerability is okay. We can all make mistakes. We all mess up. We don't have to have everything together. And that's not only good for performance, it's good for our mental health as well. Because when we're trying to hold it all together and appear as if we're strong, our mental health really, really suffers. Being vulnerable enough to go, do you know something, I need some help with this, it actually instantly relaxes everything and everybody starts interacting.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. I don't want to do more comments on this topic because you are just laying it out there. You are laying it out there. Let's go to the next topic, which is emotional intelligence angle in this discussion, which is being defined as involving, recognizing and managing one's emotion, as well as empathizing with and influencing others as a leader. Tell me, Mr. Derek, what are some emotional intelligence traits you have had consciously develop over time as a leader?
The most important thing we can do for emotional intelligence, one, is be vulnerable. as soon as you start being vulnerable, that gives you the ability to relax in the midst of a stressful situation, and other people will be able to help you. The other thing about emotional intelligence is anticipating how you are going to be affected by a situation. Now, I say that essentially there is nothing in the world that hasn't happened before that is going to happen to us, right? The human race has been around for centuries, all the way from Plato and Socrates and Aristotle and all those people, the Greek Romans. They have seen leadership. They have seen people developing, and there is nothing that has changed in those leadership messages significantly apart from the words. Okay? The words they used back then, we use different words now, and that is only a twisting of the leadership lesson. The leadership lesson itself is just the same. So if we are able to say that I am going to take on a leadership role, and as a result of taking on this role, I know I am going to go through certain challenges. Those challenges should not be unexpected, right? We should be able to anticipate. I've taken on this role, there's going to be some sort of challenge in relation to it. And emotionally, I need to understand, how has that affected people in the past? How have they dealt with it well? How have they dealt with it badly? And when we know what they have done, we have an idea about our own strengths, our own weaknesses, then we're able to anticipate how we might respond to it. And the essence of that is when we know how we might respond, we're able to say, is that going to be a good response, or is that going to be a bad response? Am I going to get the result I want, or is it going to be undermining me? We know what that is. We do. We can look forward and we go, oh my gosh, I don't know how to deal with this, but we don't like to talk to people about it. So with emotional intelligence, we're able to go, to know something, if I respond that way, I'm not going to get the response I want. So what would be a better way to be able to manage that? Now that may be being vulnerable and going to your boss, going to your partner, going to a colleague, going to a counsellor, whatever it might be, and say, I know I've got this challenge coming up. Let's have a conversation about it. How can I best prepare for it? And I think that is the essence of emotional intelligence. Understanding how things are going to affect us emotionally, and then preparing ourselves beforehand so that we can try to, and I say try to, perform in the way that we would respect ourselves. Are we going to get it perfect all the time? Never. But we can perform better than just going, I hope I do well, I guess I'll work it out. But we've got to be emotionally intelligent enough to go, I understand what my performance is, and this is where I would like to be.
Okay, looking back at your story, the story that you told us last about you being doubted and you bringing out yourself that you are the best, and positioning yourself, branding yourself, and everybody started believing that indeed he can do it. How do resilient leaders manage their emotion without you suppressing them?
When I went through that process, it wasn't a matter of just going, I'm going to change and I'm going to do this and it's all going to be easy. It was such a challenge because I was still dealing. When I made the change in my mind, it didn't change them immediately. And I still had to do things and I still had to listen to them. And it did affect me. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Everybody likes to be liked, right? And we want to be liked by everybody. The more that we realise we're never going to be liked by everybody, no matter how good we are, somebody is going to hate us for being good or whatever else. The more we're able to get our mind around that, the more we'll be able to relax with ourselves. But I still had to deal with them as well. So I had to deal with the emotions of that. And now that I've got onto this story, do you know, I've forgotten what your question was. Could you ask me that question again, please?
I asked how do resilient leaders like you manage their emotion without having to suppress them?
Okay, yeah. So it is about understanding how we are going to feel. When I made that change and said, I'm not going to listen to you guys, I knew it was still going to affect me. I was being ostracized. I was being cut out. I wasn't invited to parties. I wasn't asked to do the good jobs. I knew it was still going to hurt. And so it was about understanding how I was going to feel emotionally, being able to sit in that emotion and just say, do you know something? This is a process I need to go through. I'm not in a good emotional state with those guys, but let me find out where I am good. I'm good around my family. There were certain people in my section that really did respect me, and I sat with them. I looked to them to get that feedback, to feed my emotions and build me up. The other side, the extension on from that story was I had been in Star Group for 2 years, and it was probably at about 18 months, 21 months, somewhere around there, that I made this change. And it wasn't for 3 to 6 months afterwards that I'd been in staff group for 2 years, and one of my senior officers called me into the office and said, Derek, we've been watching you, and you came into this section with a very bad reputation, but now we can see that bad reputation wasn't deserved, so welcome to Star Group. So that was 2 years after I started, and I'd been ostracized, bullied, cut out, all those sorts of things. And it was probably from that 2-year mark that I really started seeing massive growth. But understanding how those emotions are going to be affecting me was probably one of the strongest things I could do. Anticipating what it may be like, anticipating how it's going to affect me, and the resources I have to be able to manage it, looking for those supports, and being able to try to cut them out. And I say try to cut them out because we can't always cut them out. They sometimes still do break through and affect us. But understanding that is an important emotional journey.
It's quite an emotional journey, and it was quite a crisis moment that you have bounced back and come back to tell us your story, inspiring somebody out there that is going through what you have gone through, which is recommendable and remarkable. Tell me, Derek, in a crisis moment, what internal dialogue on mindset shift help you stay grounded? We spoke about most of your strategies. You refer to them as a mindset. How do these help you stay grounded?
So I have what I call a mindset mantra. This is something that I will repeat to myself over and over. It wasn't until after I started doing podcasts and interviews and having conversations with people that I realized I had this mindset mantra in my mind. But it was something that sat with me way back when I went through all this. And it's not until just recently that I realized that this mantra was there. And the first part of that, there's 4 steps to the mantra. The first one is stay strong. And it's stay strong physically, mentally, emotionally. And staying strong physically, mentally, and emotionally is about knowing what we want to achieve and understanding how important that is for us. Looking at those 5 drivers and saying, where does it sit for me? What am I passionate about? What am I driven to achieve? And stay strong and focused on that and driven to achieve it. The second one is find your system. It is the system that works for you. Now, your system, other people may go, you're an idiot. Why would you do it that way? Why wouldn't you do it my way? My way has worked for me, but it's got to be the way that works for you. And we need to be able to recognize what works for us. And it's not just it works for us at work. It works for us in our family, in our sport, in our relationship, in our community. Our system is what works for us. Now, it may not be a perfect system, but if it's what works for you right now, step 3 is work it. Work it, work it, work it. Immerse yourself in your system. Okay, so stay strong, find your system, work your system. Now, the last step 4, is tweak your system. When you are finding that it is absolutely getting you what you want and you are starting to skyrocket in this area, you need to work out what you're doing well in that area. and then taking that and leveraging what you're doing well there into your relationships, into your parenting, into your sport, into your community. Work out what you're doing well and do more of it. Okay? If it starts to plateau and everything's just sort of coasting along, you've got to be able to reflect and go, do I need to amplify? Do I need to rest? Is this a good opportunity to take a holiday or take some time out and rest, replenish, relax, re-energize? But the most important thing is, if you are not getting the result you want, you're not feeling good about who you are, you're not feeling good about what you're achieving, then we've got to start looking at what we're doing and what can we just tweak to get a better result. Now, this is not about throwing that whole system out and bringing in a whole new system. It's just about what's that little thing that you can tweak, because it's generally just one little area of your life. You say, do you know something? If I change that, I can get a better result. Now, once you've changed that, you may then want to go and change something else and continue to grow. But do one thing at a time and just tweak it. So it's stay strong physically, mentally, and emotionally. Find your system, the system that works for you. Work it. Work it, work it, work it. Immerse yourself in your system and get the most you can out of it. And then at the appropriate time, tweak it. If you're getting exceptional results, leverage it. What are you doing well? If it's plateauing, relax, take it easy, take some time out. If you're not getting a result, what can you do to just tweak it? What's somebody else doing that you can go, do you know something? I can see that's working for them, but that wouldn't work for me. And that wouldn't work for me. Oh, but that one, I would like to try that one. Okay, but it's still got to resonate for you.
Okay, so as we are approaching the end of the interview, looking at that, you teach how to go beyond resilience to achieve sustained optimal performance when you are under pressure. Is there currently a project that you are working on, or you are planning to work on, or something that you are about to finish working on that you want to share with our audience?
What I'm working on at the moment is I want to take what I do and go globally with it. It's not that I have to go globally, but I want to put this together. I run leadership workshops, and I run half-day work. I do keynotes at conferences. I do half-day workshops, full-day workshops, 2-day workshops, and I've got enough information that I could run 12 months worth of workshops for an organization. I want to be able to empower other people to be able to deliver these workshops. And if I can empower other people to believe in themselves enough that they can run these workshops, my work here is done.
That's amazing, and that's a positive close off. Before we close off, before we wrap up our conversation, what is the final message that you want to leave our viewers, our audience with? Something to take home with?
What I'd like people to realize is that they don't have to settle for what is acceptable to do. If they've got a passion, chase that passion. You may not be able to chase that passion right now because you need finance, you need resources, you need whatever it might be. But find a way to start taking steps to chase your passion. If you're not chasing what you're passionate, if you're not doing what you are passionate about, then you're not really living life. You are just existing to earn money, to give money to other people, to do whatever you need to do. You're not living, you're existing. So find a way to start chasing what you love doing, what you are passionate about, and that's when you'll start enjoying life.
I will be part of the audience. I'm taking that with me at all. Thank you so much, Derek, for joining us tonight. Thank you for generous sharing your inspirational journey with our viewers tonight in the studio. And also to our amazing viewers, thank you for tuning in with us. Do not forget to subscribe or ring the notification bell. Thank you once again, Derek.
Evelina, thank you very much. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you.